This is Elle Woods, the star of our story. Elle is a blonde bombshell who rocks her favorite color, pink, like no other. She's head over heels for a guy named Warner, whose family's been cranking out senators like a Pez dispenser. Warner asks Elle out for a romantic dinner, and Elle is convinced it's proposal time. So she preps like a champ, hitting up a boutique with her squad to find the perfect outfit for the big moment. Seeing Elle the blonde, the shop assistant thinks she's hit the jackpot, a clueless blonde she can swindle with cheap stuff at high prices. Spoiler alert, Elle is no dummy.
Oh, is this low viscosity rayon?
Yes, of course.
I think his neck is broken.
With a half loop top stitching on the hem?
Absolutely. It's one of a kind.
It's impossible to use a half loop top stitching on low viscosity rayon. It would snag the fabric. And you didn't just get it in. I saw it in a June Vogue a year ago.
If your friend starts doing the Indian head bobble during your debate, it means they're proudly cheering on your attack.
So if you're trying to sell it to me for full price, you picked the wrong girl.
Next scene, we see Elle and Warner at a fancy restaurant. Elle's all ears, waiting for Warner to drop the big question so she can hit him with a resounding "I do."
Pooh Bear,
Yes.
I think we should break up.
But plot twist. Instead of proposing, Warner decides to dump Elle. According to Warner, a senator needs a Jackie, not a Marilyn.
Well, I need to marry a Jackie, not a Marilyn.
Elle is floored and gets the gist. He's dumping her because she's blonde. Elle storms out, heartbroken. Warner chases after her in his car, begging Elle to come home with him. Elle, still reeling, refuses to get in. But then she changes her mind, not for Warner, but to save her shoes from a long walk.
You're gonna ruin your shoes.
Okay.
Elle grudgingly accepts the breakup. She spends her days wallowing in chocolate and yelling at the TV in her room. Her friends, worried sick, drag her out for some fresh air. They hit up a salon, and while waiting, Elle flips through a magazine and spots Warner's brother. Suddenly, Elle decides to get serious about life by going to law school.
Law student.
This is such a bombshell decision that even her parents are skeptical.
Oh, sweetheart, you don't need law school. Law school's for people who are boring and ugly and...
So is her principal, who knows Elle is smart, but whose academic background is as far from law as possible.
I have a 4.0.
This girl had a 4.0 GPA, and they still questioned her?
Yes, but your major is fashion merchandising.
Fashion design can be academically challenging. It still has a history class, focusing on a very specific thing that isn't well documented, which is probably insanely difficult. And she's a fashion merchandising major, which means she is a business major above all else.
Harvard won't be impressed that you aced history of polka dots.
But Elle is unstoppable, even in the face of universal skepticism. Elle throws herself into studying for the LSAT, determined to ace it and win Warner back. She pulls out all the stops, even making a video essay that's totally not law school material. Still, Elle's enthusiasm knows no bounds, and when the results come in, her hard work pays off. Elle scores a 179 on the LSAT, just 1 point shy of perfect.
179! Elle Woods, future lawyer for the class of 2004.
She does have a 4.0 from CULA, and she got a 179 on her LSATs.
Harvard can't ignore her near-perfect score and infectious spirit, so they admit her, embracing their newfound diversity. Elle Woods struts into Harvard as a law student. Fast forward to Harvard, where Elle arrives with her adorable little dog. All eyes are on her, labeling her as Malibu Barbie. But Elle tackles her day with unwavering enthusiasm, mingling with other students from prestigious backgrounds.
I have a master's in Russian literature, a PhD in biochemistry, and...
PhD from Berkeley in women's studies, emphasis in the history of combat.
I graduated first in my class from Princeton. I have an IQ of 187.
When she introduces herself, everyone is baffled by Ella Woods at Harvard.
Hey, I'm Elle Woods, and this is Breezer Woods, and we're both Gemini vegetarians.
Perhaps knowing your star sign could help you argue that your client's moon phase influenced their alibi.
I have a bachelor's degree in fashion merchandising from CULA, and I was a Zeta Lambda Nu sweetheart, president of my sorority Delta Nu, and last year I was homecoming queen. Whoever said orange was the new pink was seriously disturbed.
Time flies, and it's Elle's first day of class. She dons her best outfit, and while walking through the corridor, finally bumps into Warner. She plays it cool, pretending she forgot they were in the same school. Warner is flabbergasted to see Elle at Harvard, a true shocker since he thought she was a bubblehead. Warner had to claw his way into Harvard, so seeing Elle there is a jaw-dropper.
You got into Harvard Law?
What, like it's hard?
Elle's first class is a disaster, thanks to a snarky professor and annoying classmates. Elle bolts out and heads to the park where she meets Emmett, who dishes out valuable tale tips on surviving law school. Warner shows up, checking in on her first day, and suddenly, the class's annoying girl appears and cozies up to Warner. Turns out, this girl is Warner's fiancée. Elle is stunned. Her heart in tatters, she heads to the salon, seeking solace while getting her nails done. There, she gets some enlightening advice. The next scene, Elle is back in Professor Callahan's class, still not fully armed with knowledge, and Vivian's antics are back. Elle is close to giving up. But then, Vivian invites Elle to a costume party. Elle shows up in full bunny regalia, only to realize Vivian tricked her again. At the party, she meets Warner, and despite being pranked, she's happy to see him. But Warner ruins the moment again, making Elle feel like a ditz. Elle finally gets it. She'll never be enough for Warner. Fueled by rage, her new mission is to prove she's a force to be reckoned with, not just a pretty face.
I'll show you how valuable Elle Woods can be.
Elle works tirelessly and soon can keep up with her classes, impressing everyone with her answers. With her newfound confidence, Elle pretends to be a lawyer for a friend in trouble. Back in Callahan's class, Elle nails a case, shocking everyone with her sharp arguments. Professor Callahan is so impressed he asks her to join the internship program. Elle submits her scented resume, which only adds to the intrigue. Long story short, Elle, Vivian, and Warner all land internships. The case they get is a murder trial, and surprise, the accused is Elle's friend, Brooke Wyndham. Elle can't believe Brooke is a murderer. People who exercise are happy, and happy women don't kill their husbands, right?
I just don't think Brooke could have done this. Exercise gives you endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. Happy people just don't shoot their husbands.
Brooke insists she's innocent. Despite the 34-year age gap with her husband, she truly loved him. This case is a head-scratcher because all signs point to Brooke. She has an alibi, but is too embarrassed to reveal it, fearing it will ruin her reputation.
Liposuction! Oh, God! No!
Elle promises not to disclose the alibi, showing true friendship. This earns her Vivian's respect, and they start becoming real friends. They even bond over their shared disdain for Warner. The first trial kicks off, and witnesses are paraded, including a pool boy who claims to be Brooke's lover. Elle smells a rat. This guy is lying, and she's sure he's gay. No way is he Brooke's lover.
You know a Delta Nu would never sleep with a man who wears a thong.
Never.
Despite her hunch, it's not enough to sway the court. Emmett, however, trusts Elle's instincts. The trial eventually exposes the pool boy's lies.
And how long have you been sleeping with Mrs. Wyndham?
3 months.
And your boyfriend's name is?
Chuck.
Right.
Professor Callahan is blown away by Elle's sharpness and calls her in for a chat. He praises her brilliance and seems to want to discuss her legal future. Elle thinks Callahan finally respects her for her brains. Wrong. Callahan is just a sleazeball hitting on her. Elle is crushed and loses all respect for him. Vivian witnesses the whole thing and is equally disgusted. Elle decides to quit, convinced law school was a massive mistake. She plans to head back to LA. While saying her goodbyes at her favorite salon, she unexpectedly bumps into the law professor she once found so annoying. Elle has an epiphany. The scene shifts as Emmett informs Brooke that Elle has quit. Vivian realizes her mistake, and Emmett hatches a brilliant plan to get Elle back. Back in the prison room, Brooke fires Callahan and hires a new lawyer, Elle Woods.
Excuse you, you're in my way.
She's a law student. She can't defend you.
Elle is initially shaky, but then she spots a tiny detail that cracks the case wide open.
Got a perm.
Were you got in the shower? Had you ever gotten a perm before? Because isn't it the first cardinal rule of perm maintenance that you're forbidden to wet your hair for at least 24 hours
time to
after
hide
getting
the gun,
a perm,
didn't you,
at the
Chetney?
risk of
After you
deactivating
shot
the
your
ammonia?
father.
I didn't mean to shoot him. I thought it was you walking through the door.
Under Elle's pressure, the witness confesses she is the real murderer. Elle wins the case. Warner, seeing Elle's triumph, begs her to take him back, but Elle has had enough of Warner's nonsense and rejects him flat out. The moral of Legally Blonde? Never underestimate a determined blonde with a penchant for pink, a tiny dog, and a brain that can crack a case wide open. Legally Blonde tackles difficult feminist issues while remaining lighthearted and fun to watch. It's a masterpiece.